Welcome to the Original Fighters Voice. I'm your host, Don McGuire. I'm stoked about tonight because if you want to talk about character, if you want to talk about somebody that brings the show to the show, it's the lightweight champion of BYB, the one and only Mark the Shark Irwin. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, Don. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
The honor's all mine. I can't wait to see you in Denver. Denver's going to be a tremendous show, BYB 22. You know, I was at the last show we talked about a little bit before we went live. That was an exciting show, but I can't wait for Denver. This is going to be probably the best show of the year. When you got the opportunity for BYB 22 in Denver, this is actually the first time you'll defend your title. How does it sit in the heart of the Shark?
I couldn't be more excited to be headlining the end of year event here for BYB. Arguably the biggest card that they've put on to date. We have three world title fights, starting with my personal favorite bare knuckle fighter, Laurent LT Smash. I can't wait to see his fight with Robert Cerna, the undefeated bare knuckle fighter. And then the ladies trilogy match, of course. And I couldn't be more excited myself to get in there and get to go head to head with a young undefeated phenom uh, to help cap off the year and really end the year with a bang.
What would a title defense win truly mean against Julio Tanori?
I mean, it means everything to me. This is my life. I have put my all into my career. I've been out here in Denver for the last 2 weeks, getting acclimated to the elevation. I've had the best training camp of my career, and I plan to go out there and have the best performance of my career and knock Julio Tanori out and defend my title and end the year as the world champion for BYB and still.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not gonna dispute that. You had one hell of a fight against Josh. Oh, well, it was at Oxidine, and a lot of people doubted you then, and here you are now, still holding the belt, and that's a tremendous walk you're making. BYB sent me a couple clips, bro. I'm gonna play one of them real quick. Now, realize that I didn't cut these clips, but I was giving them. But I think it'll show people kind of the persona that you bring to the sport, and I think it's much needed, to be quite honest with you.
Fucking bet against me. Bet against me. Tell me it's not going to happen. Tell me it's going to fail. I love it. I love every minute of it.
You know, they're short clips, but just from that right there, you could tell how much you appreciate the sport. I know you were a boxer before you came over to bare knuckle. How hard was the transition for you to come from boxing into the Mighty Trigon?
It was definitely different. I think that one of the reasons I've been able to be successful in bare knuckle fighting is because I always viewed it as its own separate sport with its own individual techniques and strategies. So there's certain things from boxing that are useful, that I look to employ in my bare knuckle game, and there's things that I have disregarded and tools that I've also adapted from other martial arts styles and to help develop this new bare knuckle fighting sport that we have here developing in America. And I think it's really exciting to be one of the pioneers of the sport and help develop these new techniques and strategies that are going to be used in the modern rebirth of bare knuckle boxing.
It's tremendous. I like quoting people, and you made a tremendous quote that kind of, you and Ian McCall both have made this quote, and it kind of represents your walk. Said you will paint the canvas beneath your feet with your opponent's blood and create a masterpiece. Walk me through that, bro.
Yeah, well, I am an artist. I'm a martial artist and I'm a performer. And when I'm out there in the ring, that is my time to perform. And when I'm out there it, and I'm trading punches with these guys, trading blood and sweat and spit, yeah, I am painting my masterpiece and I plan to go out there and showcase my greatest performance yet.
Tremendous. You know, a lot of people, there's two major bare knuckle organizations in the world, and we kind of touched on this a little bit before we went live. There's BKFC and there's BYB. I think the reason that we've all chosen BYB is the camaraderie, the respect. And like, you know, I had Mike Vasquez on my show quite a while ago when I first met him. And I told him in my 40 years of being in this industry, I've never met a promoter that I've cared for, but he was the first one. What are your thoughts, and what would you like to say about Mike Vasquez, Dada, and the BYB team?
Well, I couldn't be happier to be, a member of BYB Extreme Bare Knuckle and to be one of the stars of the organization. They've been absolute world class, top notch. They've treated me like a rock star from day one. Coming to this organization was the best decision of my career. Mike Vasquez is an absolute gem and a real salt of the earth type of guy, a real man of the people. And it's an honor to be able to represent this organization and be one of their inaugural world champions here at the onset of the sport here in America.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool because, you know, like we talked about, you go back in the day, I was with Dada and Kimbo back in the day when it was truly in the back alleys, in the backyards, and most people don't know that they're family. So to see them revamp this and bring it to an arena, so thousands and hundreds of thousands can, you know, see it over the TV or in person, I think it's tremendous. I think Mike and Dada and the whole team, you got to look at even the commentating team. You know, me and Ike Villanova, we talked about this the other night. They've got to have one of the best commentating teams in the industry. You got Mike Goldberg, who's a legend in his own right. You got Benny Ricardo, Claudia Trejos, Paulie Malignaggi. I mean, you feel like a star when you walk in the room. You know, when we're doing the pre-fight interviews, you know, how does it make Mark Irwin feel? I mean, because most promotions don't go to this extent to put their fighters out there.
When I came over to BYB, it was a real honor to have my fights called by Mike Goldberg and Paulie Malignaggi. I grew up as a kid watching them call fights, my whole life. So to have Mike Goldberg use his famous tagline, "And it's all over," just like that, when I scored the knockout of the year in 2022, was one of the highlights of my career. Paulie Malignaggi, for my money, is the best commentator in all of boxing. And again, he's called so many iconic fights and does so with such skill. He's so articulate and able to speak to the action so intelligently. So to have a multiple-time world champion, one of the best commentators in the sport be calling my fights is a tremendous honor.
Yeah, you know, I feel the same way, and I'm just sitting right behind him, bro. I'm not even in the Trigon fighting. You know, we talk about the fighting surface being the smallest fighting surface in the sport, but I don't think people truly realize how small it is. I remember watching you, and I think it was Biloxi, Mississippi, for the first fight when you stepped into the Trigon, and you looked at Ian, and you were like, "Whoa!" You know, take me there because a lot of people see it on TV. It doesn't really give you the size preferential. I know if you take two steps back either direction, you're going to be up against the ropes. How hard was it for you to acclimate yourself from the squared circle, the ring, to the Mighty Trigon? Because if you get caught in a corner, you got to fight your way out.
Yeah, it's very different. Coming from amateur boxing and professional boxing in a square ring, making my debut in the BKFC squared circle, and then transitioning to the Trigon, which is the world's smallest combat sports surface. It's a huge adjustment. When you're fighting in a triangle, you're essentially fighting in half of a ring by removing removing one of the posts. So there's not a lot of room to move. There's not a lot of room to back up. So it really promotes the action and confrontation, and it really forces you to come forward and be first because there's not a lot of room to turn and circle and run.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm going to play one more little video clip and then we're going to get deep into the interview. I just think people should see it. When you see your life in that type of perspective, put into a video format, how does it make you feel knowing that you're progressing, you're already a champion, and you haven't even really truly began your walk in bare knuckle?
It's been a very surreal experience my whole career. I started late in life. I was a collegiate track and field athlete, and I actually dropped out of school, and I started boxing and training. I started working in boxing gyms and competing in USA Boxing. I won a couple of state championships for USA Boxing in my late 20s, and then ended up turning professional as a boxer in my 30s before I stumbled into bare knuckle. But it was never something I really planned. It wasn't my big picture idea to be a bare knuckle boxing world champion. It was something I kind of fell into. So to be here now at this point is very surreal. I went from watching big fights on television to training with those guys and being coached and competing against those guys. So when your heroes become your peers and your rivals, it's a very strange and surreal experience, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's been the most rewarding journey I've ever been on, and I can't wait to continue and headline this card and defend my world title.
That's so dope. And I've used that iconic catchphrase when your idols, become your rivals, but you can't really say that in bare knuckle now because you're head of the helm. You know, nobody, the sport is new. It's 5 years in the making now, but nobody is really ahead of you at this point. So now you become the one that is sought after. You're the one that everybody wants to beat. How much more does that add to the walk of Mark Irwin? Because that's pretty dope, bro.
Yeah, it's every week I open my phone and I got someone else calling me out, you know, angling for a world title shot, talking trash, this, that, and the other. So that's been interesting, but it ultimately only adds to my motivation when people talk trash about me, call me out. Being the champion has only elevated my work ethic and my effort. And I think that's going to show here next Saturday, December 2nd at BYB 22. I'm coming off the best training camp of my career. I put more into this camp than I ever have. And I can't wait to go out there and show all the improvements that I've made and all the hard work that I've put in.
That's so dope. You know, another BYB world champion just commented, and I'm going to put it up here in a second. And this is tremendous because, well, I'll just go ahead and put it up now because Donald Linderman, DJ Linderman, was on your walk. Nobody said he could beat Tony Kryptonite Lopez. Nobody said he could beat Burns. Nobody said he can accomplish what he's accomplished, but he says, I like Mark's style on the Trigon. The experience is the most rewarding part of this sport. What would you like to say to DJ Linderman, the heavyweight champion of BYB?
Hey, shout out to the heavyweight champ, DJ Linderman. I appreciate the respect. I'm a fan of yours as well, my man.
This is so cool, man. This is what I love about the sport, man. It's a lot of people, they see the hype, but they don't really understand what goes on behind the scenes. They don't realize that when two men go to war, there's a lot of relationships created. There could be hatred before the fight, but after the fight, man, it's all love. I remember back in the day when two of my best friends from the UK, Linton Vassell and Liam Mcguire, fought each other in Bellator, and I was like, "How are you guys gonna walk out of this? You guys are friends." I said, "Man, it's nothing but punching your time card in the clock and punching it at the end. We're gonna go have a beer and a steak together after the fight." But your walk is a little bit different because Mark, I I love the persona. I love the man behind the persona. This is the first time I've actually got to see the true man behind the persona. But we talked about what it takes to build a promotion. You give as much to the promotion as the promotion gives to you. And I think with that type of marriage, the promotion grows and the sport grows. So on your walk, what was the talk with Ian McCall and your other trainers and other people around you that had you decide that not only are you going to build the name, but you're going to also build the promotion?
Well, when I first came over to BYB, I was determined to be one of the big stars of this organization. And so I really took it upon myself to promote this organization, BYB Extreme Bare Knuckle, and to promote myself and use my performances to really help bring this organization to the forefront of the sport. And it's a tremendous honor to be one of the stars of one of the biggest promotions in the fastest growing sport in America and the fastest growing sport in the world, and yeah, combat sports is as much sport as it is entertainment. And I am as much a fighter as I am an entertainer. So I always look to bring the show and to make it entertaining and to give the fans their money's worth. And on December 2nd at BYB 22, I'm going to absolutely tear the roof off of that arena. It's going to be another highlight reel performance, award winning performance. You don't want to miss it.
Oh, you really don't. You know, your last bout in boxing, your opponent retired. Do you feel that you're going to bring the same heat come December 2nd at BYB 22? Do you feel that you may or may not put Tenori into retirement?
So this is a fun fact. No fighter that has ever faced Mark the Shark Irwin in bare knuckle boxing has ever returned after that bout. I have retired every single one of my bare knuckle opponents to date, starting with the undefeated Drake Hetfield, who was 1-0 in bare knuckle and had over 30 professional fights. Uh, Spencer Ruggieri, who had two fights, one in BKFC, one in BYB, has yet to return after his knockout of the year loss to Mark the Shark. And Joshua Oxendine was beat up so badly in the first fight that he pulled out of the rematch and has been talking about retirement ever since. So, yeah, I expect that I am going to go out there and put a hurting on Tenori. And I would not be surprised if you didn't see him come back because that's the kind of impact that I have in my performances. I'm one of the hardest hitters in the sport. I have devastating knockout power with both hands. I have professional knockouts with the left hook, with the right cross, to the head, to the body. I have pressure, I have pace, I have endurance. And in 6 days from tonight, you're going to see that on display. I'm going to use all those tools and all those skills, and I'm going to put it on Tenori.
Bro, I don't doubt you at all, man. I just can't wait. You know, I'm excited about this card, but Donald Linderman says, "Do your thing, bro. I will be watching." You know, and see, this is what I love about BYB, the camaraderie. You got the world heavyweight champion watching you on your show, you know, talking about how much he appreciates you. A brother of mine from Canada, Brian Holderson, said, "What's up?" Another brother of mine from Atlanta, Georgia, he says, "Amen, G. Mark your words, come into reality 100%." You know, what does it mean for you to? Well, let me get one more out of the way because this is kind of like a father to me. He says, Artie Lamparella, he says, "Well, got you on the Warrior Speak." You know, what does it feel like knowing that people are now taking notice? People are now understanding the walk of Mark Irwin. You know, you come from a state where there's fighters on every damn street corner. There's thousands upon thousands of fighters, and I know because I'm originally from the West Coast myself. How does it feel now to finally be on bended knee and lay that stone and create the legacy which we know as Mark the Shark?
It's been a real honor. It's been very, very, uh, very unreal coming from Huntington Beach, California, which is one of the fight capitals of the world. That city has really embraced me, and it's a huge honor. And I really appreciate the love Every time I go for a run in Huntington Beach, I hear someone shouting at me, "Mark the Shark!" And I love it, man. It's one of the great fight capitals in all the world, and I'm proud to be one of the next generation of world champions coming out of Huntington Beach, California. Like a lot of my mentors and role models before me, and it's yeah, tremendous honor to carry the torch and to continue the legacy.
Yeah. We mentioned this earlier, about idols being your rivals, you know, but look at Ian McCall. He isn't your rival, but he was an idol on your walk. He was an idol on everybody's walk watching him come up. What did it mean to you to have the opportunity to bring him into your camp, to take some of his knowledge, to listen to some of his wisdom?
It's been an absolute blessing. When I was a young man, Ian was one of my favorite fighters, and he's gone on to become one of my best friends, someone I call a big brother, a mentor, and a coach. To have his experience and his knowledge, as well as his skill set, and to be able to learn from him and have him help me navigate this process has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And when we started this journey, and I told him that I was going to go into bare knuckle fighting, I asked him to come on as a coach and a mentor, uh, to help me learn some of the grappling techniques and clinch fighting that would be used in this sport. And I couldn't be more proud to be on this journey with him. And I promised him at the onset that I was going to make him a world champion again, this time as a coach. And so when I was able to fulfill that promise on May 13th and win the BYB Extreme inaugural lightweight championship, it was one of the greatest experiences of my entire life.
That's so dope. One of my sponsors from Bite Me Mouth Guards, he actually is from where you're from. He says there are tons of killers in Huntington Beach. You know, I don't usually go out, on a limb and do this, and I'm probably gonna get bad at you. Joe's probably gonna get bad at me, but we already put a mouth guard and sponsor DJ Linderman. Whoa! I'd like to get a hold of you and maybe work something out between you and Bite Me Mouth Guards, and maybe put a Bite Me Mouth Guard in the mouth of Mark the Shark. What do you think about that, bro?
Yeah, maybe we could talk after the show. Absolutely. I always appreciate the support. We're always looking for sponsors. I'd love that.
Yeah, Joe's been around for quite a while. We just got back from Matt Hughes' birthday party, his 50th birthday party. But I mean, he's put mouth guards in Chris Lieben, Matt, I mean, Couture, everybody. I don't think there isn't anybody in the UFC that doesn't have a mouth guard. And one thing about our mouth guards, and I didn't mean to turn this into a damn
No.
commercial, but people don't understand that depending on what you do, there has to be different sheathing in your mouthpieces. Everybody thinks that one mouth guard is great for, jujitsu or boxing or bare knuckle. It's not the story, but yeah, we'll definitely be in touch after the show because Joe's one of the best mouth guard makers in the industry. Mark, if you had to make a statement to Julio Tanori, I know we kind of said you're gonna, may put him into retirement. What would you like to say to him man to man in this moment?
Well, I'd let him know just how seriously I take the fact that he's coming to try and take everything from me. He's trying to take my world title. And I'll have him know something else too. About a year and a half ago, after my BYB Extreme debut, I was attending some local fights at the OC Hangar in Costa Mesa, California. And I was having a conversation with some professional friends of mine, UFC fighters, and a man approached me, a little old man, little bald guy named EJ, who disrespected me to my face and said, "Hey, my fighter would kick your ass." I'd never seen this man in my life. I'd never spoken to this man. I had no idea who he was at the time or who he was referring to. I asked him who he was referring to, and he said Julio Tanori. I said I'd never heard of the kid, but they could get in line, and I told him to kick rocks. But I never forgot that moment. I never forgot the fact that he disrespected me. And now Julio Tanori is going to have to answer for that disrespect. that his coach put on me in that moment. I'm coming for that kid. I'm going to put a hurting on that kid. I'm looking to end his career, and I'm looking to finish the year as the world champion and the 2023 Knockout of the Year award winner, and still the undefeated award winning, reigning and defending, undisputed inaugural BYB Extreme Bare Knuckle Lightweight Fighting Champion of the World, Mark the Shark Irwin.
I love that defending. And Joe Rice says, "No worries, brother. Let's get him in the best mouth guard around." And he also said, "I love the hanger fights." And I gotta admit, man, I moved out to the Midwest 32 years ago from California, and I've become a country bumpkin. And how much piss and vinegar did it put in you when Oxidine was calling you, baby shark and saying all the BS that came with that fight? How much does that really push you and motivate you to destroy the opponent that much more, brother?
I mean, at the end of the day, when the bell rings, we're fighting for blood money to the death. You know what I mean? So, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter if I like you or not. At the end of the day, our lives are on the line in there. Our legacies are on the line. Our careers are on the line. And I pride myself on being a world-class professional. And I put in the work to be so. And put in the work for this camp. I put in the work for every camp. And that's why I'm so confident. That's why, I make bold proclamations about what kind of performances I'm going to go out there and have. I've always called my own shot. I've never been lacking for confidence. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, it makes no difference to me because they're coming to take me out. They're coming to, stop my momentum in my career, and I can't have that, and I won't allow that. I'm certainly not going to allow some skinny 21-year-old Gen Z kid with a broccoli top haircut going to come and take everything away from me that I've worked for and everything that I have coming for me.
Would it be a fair assessment to say that you're actually going to make the cut men do their job this fight?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm planning to have the knockout of the night, the knockout of the year. I'm planning to get some more awards from the Hall of Fame for this performance, like I did for the previous year. Um, yeah.
I think it's so dope, bro. I just got a few more questions for you because I know you're still cutting and getting ready for the fight. What would you like to say to, you know, the whole staff of BYB? I know they're excited, they believe in you. What would you like to say to not only to them, but to the people of Colorado about December 2nd, BYB 22? What would you like to say to them in a statement of thanks?
Well, like I said, I couldn't be happier to be one of the stars of BYB. When they brought me over, they promised to promote me and make me a star of this organization if I went out there and I put on the performances, that I said I would. And they've lived up to everything that they said that they would. And, I think I have as well. And that's why we're in this position now. That's why we're headlining this historic card. And one thing I would tell the people of Denver, Colorado, make sure you get your tickets at the Stockyards Event Center, December 2nd, Saturday. This weekend it's going to be one of the greatest shows of the year. It's going to be one of the greatest shows in the history of the organization, and you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, you surely don't want to miss it. I got a question because you are running out of opponents, and a lot of people don't want to step up against Mark the Shark. At what point in time? I mean, because I'm going to admit, there's going to become a point in time where you're going to run out of opponents. There are going to be people. I mean, you are taking people out in the first, second round, and not politely. What would you do if the day came that you would have to? Would you step up or would you step down to continue the reign and become a multi-divisional champion?
Well, I don't think that I could make 125, so going down wouldn't be an option. But as far as what's after this, I think some super fights with the BKB champions of Europe are on the table. That'd be exciting opportunities. But right now, I really don't want to overlook my opponent. I'm just focusing on Tanori. First things first. I'm going to knock this kid out. I'm going to get that performance bonus. and then I'm going to end the year on a high note. And then beginning of 2024, we'll start to look for the next opponent.
Yeah, 24 is going to be a tremendous year because as I might get yelled at by Mike, but at this point, I think we're going to be throwing a fight a month. So that's going to be 12 straight fights. And then, like you said, down the road, the Intercontinental title would be a tremendous award and accolade to Mark the Shark. Mark, keep doing what you're doing, brother. I'm honored and amazed how much and how far you've come in this sport in such a short period of time. You've retired most of your opponents. They haven't came back. You already proven a point. Now it's time, December 2nd, to make a statement. And I think you're truly going to make a statement. If you're whoever catches us now or on YouTube or wherever I put this, because all the numbers don't correlate together. If you're in the Denver area or even near, like Joe says, damn, that's only 5 hours from me. This fight will be worth the 5-hour drive. This fight will be worth the 7-hour drive. One thing I will say about BYB, I've been with both promotions. Never have I been more ecstatic, more in love with bare knuckle than I have been in a BYB event because it's just real. You can't run, you can't hide. You think you're going to slip into the corner and you're going to have to fight your way out, and I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't understand it, but come December 2nd, BYB 22, like Joe Rice says, it's only 5 hours. Brother, I suggest you make that 5-hour drive and watch Mark put on a great show. I put this up here, but let me tell you something first, Jack Shady Grady. I know who you are. You wanna come on here and say ha 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 this guy, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you what, bro. I'm gonna give you one opportunity. You're not gonna come on my show and disrespect my guest. I don't play that, bro. So if you keep it polite, you're allowed to stay, but if you don't, I'm not gonna tolerate it. But he did say, "Where's the leopard hair?" So I'm gonna let you answer, Mark.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to get our hair done Wednesday for the fight, so we're going to be looking sharp for fight night.
Well, you think it's funny, Jack? Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's funny too. We'll take care of it after the show. I don't tolerate people coming on here and disrespecting my guests. Oh, now, okay. It's good. Now he says, may the best man win. I appreciate that, bro. I just don't like anybody disrespecting anybody. There's a lot of people that talk crap behind their back, behind the phone or the computer, but they won't say the crap to your face. I'm one that you better be able to say it to my face or don't say it at all.
Amen.
Because there's too many keyboard warriors, especially now with the Gen Z, like you said, there's just too many keyboard warriors, and I'm not going to play that. But Mark, it was a true honor and a true pleasure to hand you on. I'm going to hand the mic to you. If you have any friends, family, social media, or just anything else you'd like to add before the greatest show and the end of the year for BYB, the floor is yours, my brother.
Well, thank you, Don. It's been a real pleasure coming on the show tonight. Thank you for having me as a guest. Quick shout out to my team, Bobby's Boxing Club, Laguna Beach, A1 Boxing, Huntington Beach, my strength and conditioning coach, Corey Beasley, my MMA coach, Ian Uncle Creepy McCall, the former world champion, all my sponsors, CBD Health Solutions, Massage Matters, Dr. Kessler, the OC Fight Doc, Accounting Your Life, and all my other sponsors. Thank you to my training partners out here in Denver at Pound for Pound Muay Thai, Coach Matt and Coach Justin, who have been sponsoring my camp out here for the last couple weeks. Thank you to everybody tuning in. If you want to follow my training and all my fight news, you can see me at Mark the Shark Irwin on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Thanks again for having me, Don. Can't wait to see you at the show this weekend.
Oh, I can't wait to see you either, my brother. Joe Rice says before we get out of here, he says, I love Ian, Uncle Creepy McCall. Hey, man, he's a character, tremendous character, and an icon and a legend in this sport. Mark, can't wait to see you, brother. Have a good night. God bless, and we'll partake and enjoy dinner in Denver on me.
All right, I'm looking forward to it, my friend.
All right, man. God bless and have a good night, brother.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. Cheers. You know, I like the kid. I gotta admit, man, I love Mark. You know, a lot of people. Hey, God bless you too, G. I gotta admit, man. You know, like when I had hurricane on the other day, and he talks about the fighters have to promote the promotion just as much as they do, and I think Mark does that. You know, a lot of people may not like his style, or some of them. I gotta get rid of this comment. I'm sorry about that. They might not like his style or appreciate what he brings, but you know what? Step up in the Trigon against the man, and I think it's tremendous. You know, I don't know what's going on here, but we'll see. Okay, well, I'll leave that. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. He's a tremendous kid, man. BYB 22, December 2nd, Denver, Colorado. Be there. It's going to be one of the best fights of the year. It is the end of the year, but it's still going to be one of the best fights of the year, one of the best cards of the year. I want to thank Mike Vasquez, Don Povia, Dada, the whole BYB family and team. Can't wait to see you in Denver. Have a good night, and God bless.